Shut the f*** up. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of Business Plays. This one's got absolutely nothing to do with business. It's called The World's Dumbest Criminals. What happens here is Danny writes a script. I will read the script. Sam will add some fine vintage memes. You might be wondering, Simon, how do you get to move around so much? It's because I removed the f***ing desk and now I can roam. The problem is, I don't have a desk to put my coffee in, so I had to move it all the way back here. Should we get on with today's video? Maybe a good idea. The Bronx, Yemen, El Salvador, Cape Town, Lebanon, Rotherham. Each of these notorious crime capitals of the world breeds their own distinctive model of criminal. And if I had a gun pointed at my head, I'd probably suggest that criminals don't come much dumber than the Rotherham variety.
What you say?
But I can recall a true story from years ago, in which a gang of Rotherham youths broke into a house and quickly picked up the most valuable items they could find, including 2 widescreen TVs, a couple of games consoles, a microwave, and a brand new lawnmower. Wow, I can't believe like one person in Rotherham owned all these devices. They must be like the king of Rotherham. Before making their way back home at the other end of town. They didn't have access to a getaway car. They didn't fancy lugging all of this heavy stuff back home on foot in full view of the public. So they had to quickly think. If it's a like ride-on lawnmower, get it all on the ride-on lawnmower, fire that bad boy off and up and drive away. They eventually decided the best strategy would be to catch a double-decker bus. Nope, that's not something I would think of. Because one, there's definitely cameras all over that shit, because I'm sure people assault the drivers because people are dicks. And it's like, yeah, what? No, just don't do it. Just don't do it. So this group of shifty youths stood patiently waiting at the bus shelter for 10 minutes with their fresh haul of massive TV sets and electronic equipment and kitchen appliances and a brand new lawnmower, looking like they just triumphantly walked away from the worst episode of Bullseye ever. It sounds like a pretty great episode if that was all the they won, because as we've discussed on this channel before, the prizes on TV shows, like in the past, really sucked. Oh my god, I can't do this with this coffee. I'm just going to put it down on the floor and hope that I don't knock it over. Oh, now the cables are everywhere. Fucking hell. I need like a small table, but I don't have one. Also, I'd go to IKEA, but there's COVID everywhere. It's possible that they might have got away with it, except that as soon as they stepped onto the bus, they realised that none of them had any money. Not wishing to concede defeat at this late stage, they tried bartering for their bus fares by offering the driver the microwave in exchange for a ride home. But the driver didn't seem to be too taken with this new trading model. He probably had his eye on the lawnmower. And whilst all this was going on, one of the passengers got on the blur to the police to report that there was something slightly suspicious about the latest passengers trying to board the bus number 38 to Houghton Roberts. Is that a place? Houghton Roberts? It sounds like a person, or like a person who has a surname as a first name and a first name and a surname. Although they were eventually ejected from the bus, the police didn't find it too difficult to spot the gang shortly afterward and give them all a slap on the wrist for their antisocial behaviour. Wait, weren't they like burgling someone's house? It'd be like, you've been a bunch of naughty boys! On your way. I mean, I don't know if they deserve to go to prison, but they definitely deserve like a criminal record or something. A more recent news story to hit the Rotherham record in 2014 involved a 26-year-old Rotherhamite. No, it's Rotherhamite. I don't even know. I never really know how to pronounce Rotherham or Rotherham or no one cares. In 2014, involved a 26-year-old Rotherhamite called Ashley Keast, who broke into a house while the occupants were on holiday, very probably living the high life out on Skegness Pier. I feel like this is the most we have ever learned about Rotherham, or the most anyone has ever learned about Rotherham in their life, other than the like child sex scandal, which when you Google Rotherham, the first thing that comes up is some like crazy crimes. It's like, oh, Rotherham is most famous for disgusting crimes. Ashley stole a SIM card, electronic goods and a bit of jewellery, a Rolex watch, and an Audi A4 from the garage, which was later found crashed and abandoned in the town centre. In total, he nicked about £27,000 worth of stuff. What? He nicked a SIM card. Don't you get those for free? SIM card may not sound particularly significant, yes, in comparison to the Audi A4, but in fact it proved to be the downfall of Ashley Keast. Yeah, dude, what are you doing? You gonna like put that SIM card in your phone and use it? Come on! I mean, I know this is entitled The Dumbest Criminals Ever or whatever, but it's like, f***ing hell, Ashley, get your shit together, son. During the burglary, he shoved the stolen SIM card into another phone and posed for a quick selfie. Oh my god, it's even stupider than we think. Which he posted on WhatsApp so his dodgy mates could see just how productive Ashley's day was turning out to be. Ashley, man, I mean, you think there are dumb people, like I think of dumb people, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I know there are stupid people, like you can just look at Florida, and it's like, look at all the stories of the crazy Florida men, it's like, bro, what's going on? It's like, Ashley, man, come on. Allegedly. It's okay, Ashley's not gonna sue me, he doesn't know how. He doesn't even know what sue means. He's probably like, yeah, my mum, Sue. But Ba-da-bum-bum. Ashley was sentenced to 2 years and 8 months in prison after the police paid him a visit and discovered that the stolen Rolex watch was stuffed down the back of the radiator. But that sentence didn't seem long enough for Ashley. It was like, not enough. I want a bit more. So while he was in prison, he arranged for a threatening letter to be sent out to the victim, earning himself an additional 4 years behind bars for witness intimidation. That was an error, old Ashes. Don't do that. It's like, what you do? You're already guilty. You're already in prison. You're serving some time. It's like, if I threaten him, he might come forward and say that it was all a lie and I'll get released from prison. Again, I feel we are just further establishing beyond all reasonable doubt that Ashley is a dumb motherfucker. Or we could say Sue But dumb criminals aren't just exclusively restricted to former mining towns in South Yorkshire. In fact, there are thousands of other cases across the globe which are bad enough to make Rotherham look like an elite guild of master thieves. We're gonna have to get really dumb to be dumber than Ashley. Chip on his shoulder. But I have a feeling we're gonna manage to get there. Oh, for f***'s sake, every time I bend over to pick up my coffee, this lab white wire which runs down the back of my jacket keeps coming over my shoulder. That's what she said. Donald Chip Pugh was a man wanted by police in northwestern Ohio in the city of Lima in early 2016. They posted a mugshot of Chip from a previous arrest on the Lima Police Department's Facebook page, seeking out any information on the whereabouts of this fugitive who had failed to turn up to court on a driving under the influence charge. Facebook is such a piece of shit. Alleged. I was just thinking about this morning because I was talking to my wife and we were like, yeah, you know, how's the COVID numbers looking? Because we just had our restrictions. I don't know when this video is going out. Maybe we're all vaccinated against COVID by now, but maybe not. And she's like, yeah, I was checking the Facebook the COVID numbers on a Facebook group, and I'm like, why are we doing this? If you Google it, you're going to get numbers from the government. Why do we have to go to Facebook to get numbers? And maybe she's in some legitimate group, but I just so associate Facebook with piece of shit fake news. It's just like, I can't even take, if I read something on Facebook, I assume it's false. These days I'm just like, it's probably fake. It's probably fake, because Facebook is for dickheads and Karens. So they were seeking information on the whereabouts of this fugitive who failed to turn up to court on a driving under the influence charge. The police were surprised to receive help from an unexpected source. Chip had been horrified when he saw his mugshot on Facebook, but not for the reasons you might expect. Chip just felt the police had used a deeply unflattering photograph. This is not right. Ashley, I apologize. You're not the dumbest ever. This chap is. And he's kind of right. It does look like he just shoved an entire jar of spicy pickled eggs into his mouth and is beginning to experience the first signs of tangible regret. So, to lend a helping hand, Chip texted the police department with a much more laid-back and breezy photograph, accompanied by the brief message which read, "Here is a better one. That one is terrible." Chip, what are you doing? He's going to be standing in front of like something that specifically, that says GPS coordinates. This is how stupid he is. The Lima Police Department were happy to update their Facebook post with a new improved photograph explaining this photo was sent to us by Mr. Pugh himself. We thank him for being helpful, but would appreciate it if he could come and speak to us. The absurdity of the situation helped make the post go viral, and Chip quickly found himself in deep fat fryer when he was found and arrested by the police shortly thereafter. Oh, because his name is Chip and he's in a deep fat... Just before he was caught, Chip appeared on a segment of a local radio show in which he explained that he was just so annoyed by the original choice of photograph. The particular radio segment in question was called Idiot of the Day. That's the one you don't want to call into. It's like, look, if you're featured, it's like being featured on Business Place. It's probably not something you want in your life. Oh, and that's that section done. Did he get caught? Yes, he was Okay, moving on. Bandits on four wheels. Forget Bonnie and Clyde. They were bumbling amateurs when compared to Naomi Duchenne and Luis del Castillo. I don't know how to pronounce foreign names. Two knife-wielding women who struck fear into the hearts of the residents of El Paso, Texas. Well, I say that. The thing about Naomi and Luis is that they didn't travel very far. They found the very idea exhausting. So when they hatched a scheme to rob a jewelry store, they decided to keep it very local by choosing the Estate and New Jewelry Store as their target, which just happened to be very conveniently located directly opposite their own apartments. Honestly though, if I was the police, I'd be like, look, it's not going to be the people in the apartment opposite because no one is that fucking stupid. And someone's like, let's just check just to be sure. The guy who owns the jewelry store is like, yeah, I know who it was. They live opposite. It was a foolproof plan. They didn't have much in the way of cunning disguises or a cool getaway car, so they improvised. Naomi burst into the store brandishing a 12-inch long hunting knife and approached the owner, Linda Bradley, fiercely demanding that she turn over everything. Naomi was wearing a billowing black rubbish sack with two holes cut out for her eyes. You could find... Really? You couldn't do anything better than this. You couldn't have gone to the store, I don't know. There's so many things. Literally buy a mask. I mean, they sell, go to the hiking store and buy a balaclava. I do find, you could go to a store, it's like, yeah, I've worn balaclavas. When I go camping in the winter and you want something covering your face, yeah, you look like a terrorist criminal. But there's a reason for balaclavas. They're not just for crimes. Also, you could just buy literally anything else to cover your face. Do you have to, they are lazy, but you go into the kitchen and you're like, well, I'm gonna commit some pretty serious crimes that risk jail time. This is where I'm gonna get my disguise. It's gotta be something in here. I'm gonna MacGyver the out of this. Meanwhile, Louise was patiently waiting outside with their getaway vehicle. It was a wheelchair. Yeah, because disabled people are known for being faster. It appeared, although those guys with blade legs, they run faster than the guys with regular legs, right? In the Paralympics. The blade guys are faster. Yeah? Because you got way less weight and you got some kick-ass blades. But look, they're not doing that. They're getting away in a wheelchair. It's not, look, they didn't leave the kitchen to get a disguise. They're not going to be like, well, we need to get away fast from the police. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove our legs, we're going to replace them with kick-ass blades, and then we're just going to run away. Although then it's like, no, it was definitely the guys who live opposite, the guys with blades for legs. I've seen them around. You want to, when someone's like got a blade for a leg, you want to be polite. You don't want to stare at the blade for a leg. But you're also going to be like, I'm aware that man has a blade for a leg. Oh, Simon, I don't even see blade legs. I don't even see them. I didn't even notice. It's just like a normal leg to me. Discriminatory son of a... Naomi was going to run the store, hop into the wheelchair, as she'd probably be feeling a bit tired by this point. Louise can then push the wheelchair all the way back home to their apartment just across the road, where they could count up their loot over a nice cup of cocoa. I have no idea how this is going to go wrong. Sadly, Ed reckons on the grim determination of Linda, the store owner. Swiftly assessing the situation, Linda soon came to the conclusion that she wasn't handing over a single damn thing to this pair of clowns. She grabbed a bright pink stun gun and started chasing Naomi around the shop until a customer joined in and wrestled Naomi to the ground. Both Naomi and Lewis were arrested very shortly afterwards, putting an end to the legendary saga of the wheelchair bandits, which surely had the scope to be adapted into a budget challenge movie. Yeah, also, if I was Louise, and I'd be like, oh, shit's going wrong, I'd just be like, getting the out of here. It could even spin out into a long-running franchise. I would pay good money to see the follow-up. Bandits on a unicycle and bandits in a wheelbarrow. Follow me on Facebook for more clues. Everyone has become so immersed in social media in recent years that it's a surprise that I haven't come across a story in which a criminal excitedly checks into the bank he's about to rob. Oh, please, that's so good. Look, if I was robbing a bank, pro tip, leave your f***ing phone at home. Because, look, I don't know, I just assume that I'm being spied on. I just assume I am. But it's nice to see that Facebook is doing its bit to bring criminals to justice, even if the platform has to simply sit back and rely on the sheer stupidity of some of its users. And even then, I like privacy is pretty important. If Facebook were releasing information about people's locations to the FBI or police or whoever, it's Norfolk. What's the FBI in the UK? I guess we don't have one because we don't have federal shit. It's just the police. Scotland Yard! I don't even know if they're what they do. It's always just what you see on TV when the serious police get involved. I wouldn't like Facebook releasing that data about criminals to Scotland Yard or whatever. That just doesn't feel right. 32-year-old Andrew Hennels from Norfolk in the UK is perhaps the closest thing we'll ever get to a criminal check-in. Just before he planned to carry out an armed robbery at his local branch of Tesco, Andrew posted a sinister souvenir selfie on Facebook in which he accompanied with a catchy caption, "Doing Tesco over." What is up? Just 15 minutes later, Andrew was threatening a staff member of Tesco at knife point and demanding that she empty the till. He left the store with £410 in cash and then made a getaway in a vehicle which he hijacked from an elderly couple in the car park before reaching his final destination of his favourite local pub. Mate, for £410, which is not a small amount of money, but it's not worth going to prison over. It's really not. Also, I brought this story up a bunch of times. That I worked in a supermarket when I was a kid. And I remember the training. They were training me on the till. I'm 16 years old. And they're the most important thing you do is if someone comes in and they ask you to empty the till and they threaten you, and I'm like, oh, shit, what do I have to do? Chase this down? And they're just give them everything. Don't press the alarm. Don't do anything. Just give them the money. Don't chase them. Just let them go. And I'm I like that policy because honestly, that's what I would have done anyway without question. And I like the fact that I'm not going to get in trouble for that because you know whose money that isn't? Mine. You know how much I care? Not much. Let's hope Andrew ordered half a bitter and a shandy rather than a full pint. It barely sat down before the police burst in to arrest him, and the Facebook post was used as evidence to secure a guilty plea and conviction. Andrew was sentenced by... He's going away for years, right? That is armed robbery and car hijacking. You're going away for a bunch of years, son. Even though it's only £410, I don't think that really matters. Andrew was sentenced by Norwich Crown Court to 4 years in prison. That seems a bit light for armed robbery and carrying a knife as an offensive weapon, and faces an additional 4 years on extended license after his release. I have no idea what extended license is, but I'm assuming it's not like it's not a good license that he's getting extended. Over in Caerphilly in South Wales, Danny, are all the stupid criminals in Britain? 19-year-old Logan James thought it would be fun to taunt over Gwent's police. Gwent sounds like a fashion brand, sort of like Gant, but Welsh. When they posted a Facebook appeal in 2015 to help trace the young vagabond. Logan had previously served a prison sentence for wounding, a fray, and being in possession of a knife. Yeah, that's it. In the UK, I believe you could only have a 3-inch knife. That's the longest knife that you can legally carry. Anything longer than that, it's like you can get in trouble. So it's a bit weird when you like come back from IKEA and you got like a full set of knives. It's like, I think you might be committing a crime. I don't know how they deal with that. Also, those people who work for like, what's that alleged pyramid scheme or whatever, like knives. Is that a pyramid scheme? I feel like there's something dodgy about that, allegedly. Those guys in the UK, you couldn't have that because they'd just be like criminals. Just definite deadly weapon carrying criminals. Also because they really ban the out of pyramid schemes in the UK, it's really nice. Like that giant pyramid scheme that is in America that everyone knows, and there's going to be 2 that are regularly brought up in the comments, is banned in the UK in like 99% of its forms because the UK's like, you pyramid scheme. And I'm like, at this point I'd clap my hands together. I put down on my desk, but I can't. But just imagine me doing it. Sam, maybe introduce a sarcastic clap sound effect right now. But the police now wanted a word in his ear after he breached his release terms by not bothering to show up for his probation meetings. Logan thought he'd be a bit of a laugh to respond to the Facebook post himself. What's going on? What is this? Oh, okay, so he's on the run. COVID. Not really. Relax. Okay, so he replies to the Facebook post asking like where he is. Oh, if people can help find him. Haha, catch me if you can. You won't see me slipping. I get the feeling, Logan, that what you're going to be doing is slipping. On the very same day, he got in touch with a news agency to express his poor assessment of Gwent Police's efforts to track him down. He bragged, "They're not going to be able to catch me. I won't let them. I've only been out for a week, so I want to be about a bit longer before going back in. I've been walking around near home, so they're not trying that hard to catch me." Logan was arrested later that day, close to his home. Although clearly they weren't trying, and then some guy was like, well, fuck this prick. Let's just go get him. It looks as if they caught him slipping, very probably on a comedy banana skin. Didn't spill my coffee. And he was back in prison again just last year, again getting involved in a bizarre street brawl involving knives, a plank of wood, and a vacuum cleaner. Holy shit. How do you know? I guess there's some court record of this. Like, what's a vacuum cleaner got to do with it? Meanwhile, in sharp contrast to the earlier story of Donald Chip Pugh, a wanted fugitive in Florida, actually seemed quite taken by a photograph of police for their Wanted of the Week poster campaign. The police were seeking a word with Mac Yearwood following an accusation of battery in 2016, but they're having a spot of bother in tracking him down. Mac helped to push things along in the right direction by deciding to adopt the Wanted poster for his profile picture on Facebook. Okay, I mean, that's pretty dumb, but I get that. That's also quite funny. One of his friends was quite impressed, noting, "Nice mugshot." Mac cheerfully replied, "Thanks, buddy." He wasn't quite so cheerful when the police used the account to track him down to his brother's house when Mac was arrested. The bounty hunter. Speaking of wanted posters, I'm not sure that they're quite so common or meaningful here in the UK as they are in the United States and many other parts of the world. Yeah, I've never seen one. I mean, obviously I've seen them in like movies and but like you don't see them plastered to like telegraph poles. Also, what the fuck's up with telegraph poles? Why do you still call them telegraph poles? I love the old Wild West Styles poster which promised a bounty of $500 in exchange for the capture of the notorious food criminal Billy Pancake, dead or alive. Is there a joke I'm missing anyway? Here in the UK, we're more likely to see a poster offering a £5 reward for any information on the whereabouts of a beloved missing cat or his friends, known to his friends and associates as Diddles. Apparently, wanted posters are very rarely used to help track down insurgents in Afghanistan as they never yield any positive results. Oh, I know this one. I already know this one. Is this about the like terrorist who turns himself in hope of getting the reward? It's like, dude, no, it's not how it works. I feel like before doing that, you should consult like a terrorist lawyer. But the authorities still decided to give it a shot anyway in 2012 when they put up loads of Be on the Lookout posters for Mohammed Ashan in the southeastern province of Paktika. Mohammed Ashan was suspected to be a mid to low level Taliban commander who had organized improvised explosive device attacks on US and Afghan troops in the east of the country. The posters promised a small finder's fee and the hundreds of dollars for information. I didn't realize it was so low for information leading to his capture. I thought at least he's turning himself in for wasn't Osama bin Laden's one like $25 million or something insane? That can't be right, that sounds way too high. Although they really wanted him. Hardly seems worth it for the risks involved in dobbing in a Taliban commander. You'd be better off sticking onto the scent of Billy Pancake. But one foolhardy bounty hunter felt it was a risk worth taking. The enigmatic figure approached a police checkpoint in the district of Sarhauser to announce that he had concrete evidence regarding the location of Mohammed Ashen, and he had good reason to be confident. He was Mohammed Ashen. US Army Specialist Matthew Baker later revealed that Mohammed had pointed excitedly at the poster and then his own face to illustrate the uncanny likeness. When asked the question, "Is this you?" Mohammed nodded enthusiastically and responded with, "Yes, yes. Can I get my reward now?" It's like, dude, come on. What is up? I've heard this story before, but it's still very good, isn't it? Either this guy hadn't fully grasped the concept behind the wanted poster and felt that he'd won a competition, or he really was desperate for that few $100s. Sadly, it appears that you don't end up with the money if you try and claim the bounty in your own head. A US official later declared, "This guy is the Taliban equivalent of the Home Alone burglars. Clearly, this man is an imbecile." Yeah, no shit. I missed the title. Small change. Every master criminal dreams of pulling off that one big last job after which they can retire from the hectic world of immorality, kick off their boots, and enjoy a quiet life of wealthy contentment. 53-year-old Michael Anthony Fuller from North Carolina felt that he'd come up with his own grand counterfeiting master plan in 2011, and it was so beautifully simple. All it required was the forging of a single note, $1 million note. What are you going to do? Take it to the store and cash it in, you dumb fuck. It's quite likely that Michael didn't forge the note himself. Considering the lunacy of his plan, I'd be surprised if he had the mental agility to tie his own shoelaces. It probably picked up the note ready-made from an online novelty store. Once he had the $1 million note in his possession, he happily skipped. I feel like this isn't a crime. It's not even a crime. It's just, this is so stupid that he'd go to court and the lawyer's defense would be like, "Obviously he's innocent, judge. It was a joke." Even if he's like, "Dude, it wasn't a joke. I was really hoping to go." Shut the f*** up! Once he had the $1 million note in his possession, he happily skipped along to his local branch of Walmart in Lexington, where he went on a little shopping spree. He picked up a microwave, vacuum cleaner, lots of other little treats, which came to a grand total of $476. He then produced the $1 million note at checkout, expecting about $999,524 in change. At a Walmart. It's hard. The only thing I know about, I went to a Walmart once. They had a machete for $3. There's not going to be $1 million in that till, is there? That's a lot of machetes. It's hard to know what must have been going through the cashier's mind at this point. Maybe he was initially worried that he might not have enough change in his till to cover the transaction. He wasn't worried about that. Or maybe he quietly pondered over the fact that the highest value US dollar bill in circulation is only $100. But it's equally hard to figure out what was going through Michael's mind too. If he was going to try and get away with presenting a fake $1 million note, why didn't he go on a slightly higher end shopping trip? Why did he do this at all? Why would you limit yourself to local Walmart and only bother racking up such a relatively tiny bill? It's like one of those nuisances who walks into a shop to buy a packet of tea bags with a £50 note. He should at the very least have tried using the alternative tactic of walking briskly away from the till with the friendly departing words, "Keep the change," instead of holding it out his hand for the expected $999,524. Sadly, Michael didn't quite succeed in pulling off his big last job. The cashier called the police and Michael was charged with attempting to obtain goods under false pretense and forging money. I can't go, he's just too stupid to go to prison. These are one of those guys where it's like, yeah, we ran an IQ test on it, came back as 6. We can't charge him, he doesn't have the mental capacity to be a criminal. Allegedly. Although it's been difficult to trace exactly what happened to Michael afterwards, it would appear that all charges were eventually dropped. Good. I mean, come on. You'd suspect this was probably more out of pity than anything else, and maybe there's hope yet for those lost souls in Rotherham. This has been an episode of Business Blaze. If you'd like to get your hands on some merch, keep calm and blaze on. Mwah! Purchasethemerch.co. Thank you for watching. Is that a pyramid scheme?